Hey guys, hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. This is the Toyota Supra Pro, and today I'm going to be taking a look around it and I'm going to be taking it out for a drive. So let's see exactly how it drives. The Toyota Supra has always been overshadowed by the fact that it shares its DNA with the BMW Z4. But it promises to be a great sports car in its own right. It comes with 335 horsepower and a top speed of 155 miles per hour. 0 to 62 miles per hour comes in 4.6 seconds. So before I take the car out, I'm going to take a quick look around the exterior of the car. From its styling and the way that it looks, it does look quite cool. I think it is a really beautiful car. Particularly, let's start from the front end. It's really aggressive. You get this sort of front splitter finished in black, this headlamp cluster which looks really cool with the red accents inside, and it's a really long bonnet which you can see a bit more when we come around to the side of the car. From the side profile of the car, it just looks so cool. It looks low with that long bonnet, and it comes from the Toyota 2000 GT, which in my opinion is one of the most beautiful cars ever. So that was the inspiration for the styling of this car, and it just looks really cool. The thing that does possibly spoil it a little is these fake vents over here. You've got fake vents here, even at the front. You've got loads of fake vents in the car, but for the sake of making the car look a lot more aggressive, I don't actually mind the fake vents. They look really cool. When we come towards the back of the car though, now this is probably the best feature of the car. You've got this sort of really multi-layered rear end and the ducktail spoiler. I really love a ducktail spoiler. I wish there's more cars in the modern day that do a ducktail spoiler. And you've got the Supra badge finished in red. You've got this rear diffuser at the bottom with two exhausts which are quite large as well, and you've got the rear fog light as well, which reminds me a bit of a Formula 1 car. But otherwise it looks so cool. I mean, check this out. How cool is this? You've got this double bubble roof. That looks so cool. It's everything that you would want in a sporty coupe car. It is, you know, it just looks beautiful, and I've heard good things about the way it drives. So enough of this, I just can't wait to go drive it. Let's get inside. Although the interior does not look like a Toyota, it does look promising. Right, so when you get inside the Supra, it's a little bit of a different story. Where outside it's really beautiful, the car's got these rear haunches, really makes it look like a sports car. On the inside, it doesn't look like a Toyota at all. Everything is really familiar of what you would find in a BMW. Now, obviously this car is based off the BMW Z4, and in fact it's going to be produced on the same production line as the BMW Z4 in Austria. And there's so many similarities inside. The steering wheel is BMW, the central cluster with the iDrive system is BMW's iDrive system, all the way down to this the controls for ventilation and audio. That's all familiar from BMW. The stop start button. The only thing that isn't BMW is the digital dash in front of you. Now that's a Toyota digital dash, and it integrates this sort of digital screen with the analog dials, and I really quite like that. I know Porsche do a similar thing, and that's something which I really like. Aside from that, the rest of the cabin is typically BMW. The seats feel very snug, especially when you get in. You got these really long doors and you get into the car and the seats feel a little bit snug. But this particular car comes with black Alcantara leather seats, and you get a load of leather and different material, a bit of stitching on the dashboard, some sort of plastics in the middle. You also get wireless charging in this car. You get some cup holders, some more space to store stuff, and you get a decent sized boot. It's roughly around just under 300 litres, so it's a decent boot space actually. But I mean, aside from that, it seems like a very driver focused place to be. Whether I would say it is a GT car, it's built for long journeys, I don't know. It seems comfortable enough. There's good headroom. What I've just noticed is that there is the sensor for the BMW gesture control underneath the mirror, but this car doesn't have the BMW gesture control, so I don't see why that's there. But aside from that, It's I like BMW. I mean, it's Toyota and BMW, two of the biggest car companies, coming together to collaborate on a car. And of course, I know it's called the Supra, but you know, that's just for nostalgia's sake. Let's look at this car for face value, and so far what it's offered is really good. I've heard good things about the way this car drives, so what am I waiting for? Let's go out and drive it. Right, so one thing which I actually found really interesting about this car is you can't actually open the boot from the back. You either have to use the key or you have to use a little latch next to the driver's door, and then you can open the boot. And there's the boot space. I'm just gonna get some of my cameras to set up before we go out on a drive. I'm really excited. I haven't been this excited to drive a car in so long. And admittedly, when I first saw the Supra, I wasn't really that excited to drive it. I'd usually prioritized other cars at events like this. This event is courtesy of the SMMT, so a massive thank you to the SMMT for allowing me to come to an event like this and to test out a range of different cars which I wouldn't normally test. So thank you to them. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to be driving this. Like I say, I haven't driven the Supra before, and I've had opportunities to drive it. But today when Toyota said they're going to bring the Supra along, and it's the 3-litre one, don't know how I feel about that yet, but it's the 3-litre one, I was really excited. And on top of that, it's the manual. This one is the 6-speed manual. You can get it with the 8-speed auto ZF auto box, but this one is the manual. So yeah, oh, I'm so excited. Oh yes, this is everything that I want it to be. I've driven Toyotas before, and I thought, like in some Toyotas and in some Lexuses, some of the buttons and the pedals and stuff are going to be all over the place. For example, in some of their cars, they have the parking brake. It's a foot assisted parking brake, but with this particular car, that's not the case, because of course it has been developed with BMW. Oh, it's got some shove, this car has. Yeah. In the middle of the rev range, it does like to pull. When you get higher up the rev range, there's not much reward, but in the middle of the rev range, it really does. And lower down, actually, this car weighs just under 1.5 tons, so it does accelerate pretty good. But let's look at this as a GT car, and let's see how comfortable it is. It's got stiffer suspension than the GT86. Obviously it's only got 2 seats as well. It sits lower down. It's got a shorter wheelbase, so it's meant to be more aggressive and more agile than the GT86. But so far so good. I'm quite liking this. The seats give you enough support. The steering is a lot sharper than I would have thought for GT cruising. It is nice and soft if you were to, for example, take this car on a track, but I am having to adjust on this rather straight road. But otherwise, I think this is a very comfortable car. But when it comes to going around corners, and when it comes to driving this car dynamically, this car is really well balanced. The reason for that is because it has a 50-50 weight distribution. But aside from that, it has what Toyota call the golden ratio of between the wheelbase and the width of the distance between the left wheels and the right wheels. So it's got that ratio of around 1.55, and that's meant to be the perfect ratio for agility and for handling. And so far it is living up to what I thought it would be. Now, would I have this car over the BMW Z4? Well, they're both basically the same package, but this particular one is a hardtop coupe, and it looks really good as well. Whereas the BMW Z4, to me, doesn't stand out that much when it comes to the exterior. The exterior of this car is so beautiful, and I'm so glad they made it look somewhat like, especially with the proportions, somewhat like the 2000 GT, because that is such a beautiful, beautiful car. I cannot get enough of that car. So I'm really glad that it looks the way it does. On the interior wise, it does look a bit basic, But then again, a lot of BMWs do look a bit basic in the interior. But the reason why is because everything is exactly where you want it to be. It's not gimmicky. It is built for purpose. There's these tactile buttons for your ventilation and your audio. There's the nice easy iDrive system. You've even got touch screen infotainment system. The digital dash is not too large, so that the steering wheel doesn't come in the way. It is perfect in the interior. So while I would say it doesn't look as nice as, say, some Mercedes or some of the new BMWs, but I think everything is where it needs to be, and it does everything perfectly, to be honest. Now, this car starts at roughly around £53,000, but if you get the 3-litre Pro, which is what this car is, if you get the 3-litre Pro in manual, that is actually cheaper to get the 3-litre Pro manual special edition than it is to get the 3-litre Pro in automatic. So why would you not? I mean, come on, it's got a manual gearbox, and Toyota are starting to introduce more and more manuals into their lineup. The GT86, for example, the GR86 is going to get a manual gearbox as well. And I've just heard from Toyota that now they seem to have more manual cars than Porsche do. So big marks for Toyota. I'm telling you, if a car company like Toyota is willing to make a car like this in this day and age, then props to them. And you know what? They've done such an amazing job with it. I'm blown away. I should have driven this car so much sooner, but I'm kind of glad that I waited for the manual. It is definitely a car which I would recommend you drive. It is everything that it's promised to be, and on top of that, it just looks amazing. The handling is beautiful. The balance is perfect on this car, and it is really easy to drive. Just get in, put in first gear, lift the clutch, and go. Yeah, I want to thank Toyota for actually allowing me to drive this car here at SMMT, and of course I want to thank the SMMT for inviting me to this event. If you enjoy this content, if you like my insights on this car and any future cars as well, then please make sure you make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, tell me whether you like this car or not. I know this car might divide opinions, especially with that name, the Supra. I mean, it's for nostalgia's sake, and of course Toyota need to justify the price of this car as well, but I don't think they need to. As a standalone car, if you take this car for face value, it drives so well, it handles so well, and now I have to go give it back. So I'm a bit sad. But make sure you make sure you share this video with anybody that you know, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. The Toyota Supra is a great car. It has incredible agility and performance, and on top of that, it looks beautiful as well. An overall great package. If you ignore the name for a second, the Toyota Supra is one of the best modern sports cars.